20.3
20 million
entered.
went.
2.1 million graduated. Where do you
10%.
where do you think the gap, why do you think that
Well,
gap
it's
is there?
interesting. That is definitely effect of non-causality, and that non-causality would be the proper inculcation and indoctrination of inspiring creativity and the imagination and curiosity at a very, very young age, because we're modeling our environment and those mentors or the lack of around us growing up. And so you think of it like by the time you get to college, no one knows who they are. No one knows what. Now, not necessarily they're like know who they are they by that age. However, if the brain's matured up to that point to the sense of like it's done developing, well then why the hell would we not be able to construct who we are by then? Well, look at it. You have a system that rips out curiosity. Like college as a whole is always been an academic amalgamation of interesting, curious, interested individuals that got together and dedicated their lives to thinking and learning. Okay, so that's at the end of it though, like the end of the spectrum. In the beginning, it's like you go to middle school and high school, and it rips the hell out of people's curiosity. By the time they get to college, they aren't sold on learning like that. So think about that, for example. I'm not saying that that's the end all be all, but just think about the effect that that could have on an individual going to college. That you hear it all the time. Like, I don't know why or what I want to do. I don't know why I need to learn this. Or we're taking all these extra classes just because we feel like we need to. Well, that's not very inspiring or motivating. And there isn't a lot of dopaminergic spikes that are going to transgress when studying things that you don't believe you're involved in, like intrinsically, that you're going to get value from. There won't be much interest. There won't be much motivation. So all of that is the effect of the non-causality of system not really inspiring a cultural ecosystem of curiosity, of observation, of interest. It's like our whole culture is not set around curiosity. I would argue that that's going to end up affecting college dropout rates, because if the mass majority of people are going and they're not really interested in learning, why would they finish?
Yeah.
And then it is going to seem expensive to them, because expensive, inexpensive, that's just a subjective view of reality. Because at the end of the day, we're spending money on things that never make sense. As long as we have enough food to eat and drink and not die, like as long as you have enough income, right, or expense, the ability to expense income to not die from eating and drinking, like food and water, well then we're good. We can do whatever. So like things seem more expensive when we don't believe they're valuable. So if people aren't sold on education as a whole for like as a life thing, why would they go for 20K a year? I think the average is 15,000 a year or something, 10,000, 15,000 a year. Why would they go for 4 years straight when they perceive it as just accumulating debt, which goes back to other conversations on debt? Why would they finish when they aren't even sold on learning? It's like not even it's not a life commitment. It isn't.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder that they're at the end of a Pareto distribution. 10% graduation
Yeah,
rate is
absolutely.
terrible,
Yeah.
and that's just the effect though of so many causalities. It's like I wouldn't even blame. You cannot necessarily blame college or blame the professors or blame any of that. I wouldn't do that at all. I would look at our society as a cultural misalignment from giving a shit about learning. Now, we never really necessarily were thus like or that, right? However, if you look at the founding fathers, they were all like a lot of them were polymathic, interested. Like Ben Franklin thought it was ridiculous, or would have thought it was ridiculous that we don't, or he would have definitely, yeah, there's Ben. He would have definitely thought it would be ridiculous that we would compartmentalize and silo all of these different disciplines. And I think college is actually, as a whole, I mean, I've watched some things, so I'm a little biased, but like Neil deGrasse Tyson talked about, they did something like this with in his, at least where he works or where he studies, they attempted to cross pollinate some of the physics, like the quantum. He does astrophysics, so they took the astrophysicists and they had them work with some biologists and a different field, and new disciplines ended up coming out of that. It was like he was saying this in a lecture. It was like, oh, it worked out really well. Well, no shit. that's what needs to happen now, right? And that's just an example of if a human is genuinely curious, they'd want to study different disciplines that aren't just their specific master degree. And all geniuses, when you study the genius effect of time, like all the people that we label as geniuses, they were all polymathic in their approach, meaning in Greek, many learnings. They were curious humans.